I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Education together. This is Tuesday, February 13th, 2018. It is 7:06. Roll call.
Marco?
Here.
Compliment?
Here.
Varchi? Here. Stahl?
Here.
We have some special guests here this evening. We have some Boy Scouts from Troop 500, and they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. So let's stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The boys are with us this evening because they are working on earning a badge, communication, and they would like to see some lively debate on some issues. So we'll see what we can do. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business, and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Approval of the minutes. Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the minutes for the organizational meeting of January 3rd, 2018, and the special and regular meetings of January 9th and January 22nd, 2018. We'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second? Second. Any questions or comments on those minutes? Roll call.
Stahl?
Yes.
Varchi?
Yes.
Marco?
Yes.
Compliment?
Yes. Recommendation statement. Following are recommendations that have been identified for approval as part of the consent agenda for this meeting. If a board member wishes to remove any item from this agenda for further discussion prior to taking action, please let either the superintendent or the board president know. Approval of the consent agenda. Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the consent agenda of February 13th as presented. A motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to accept with the change of tabling policy 5136.
5136, personal communication devices will be removed at this time. And so, Mr. Barco, you made
that motion, yes.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Marco?
Yes.
Varchi? Yes. Stahl?
Yes.
Compliment?
Yes. Superintendent's special guests.
Okay, thank you. We have a number of special guests to honor this evening. Our Students of the Month. If we could have our principals come forward with our Students of the Month to be recognized.
So I'm very pleased to present McKenna Lifty as the primary star student of the month. Mrs. Mock chose McKenna to be her star student for her class, and then she's chosen to represent the school. And Mrs. Mock had these wonderful things to say about her. When I chose McKenna Lifty as the star student, I had a difficult time choosing only 3 qualities. McKenna is a hardworking, cooperative student. She listens well, follows directions, and is willing to help with whatever needs done. And she can be counted on to follow the Buckeye basics, which I like to do. McKenna is always pleasant and respectful to her peers and adults, and she's a delightful student, and she's been that way in her 4 years at Buckeye Board. Congratulations.
Good evening. I am representing Noah Churchill this evening. He's not here, but I'd like to speak for him. Mrs. Walker wrote some very nice things for him. Noah consistently demonstrates a positive attitude at school as well as in his interactions with peers and teachers. He's respectful to others and helps in the classroom whenever he can. Noah goes out of his way to be a friend to those around him. He is kind and caring to everyone he meets and works hard to make those around him feel important. His consistent kindness is a characteristic that makes Noah an outstanding student at Buckeye Intermediate School. So congratulations to Noah. I will. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. Tudor, I'm the high school principal. I actually have the privilege to also announce the junior high student of the month this month, and it is Haley Smith. Haley, here's what some of your teachers wrote about, okay? Haley Smith is a great student. She helps out in class, always gets her work done, and is responsible, mature, and is a positive influence to other students. She likes to play soccer, is on the club team, and has played soccer since she was in kindergarten. She practices in Oberlin, has some long nights, but is able to balance that with her schoolwork. Haley wants to play soccer at high school and try out for the volleyball team in 8th grade. Haley says that her inspiration is her mom, who was a straight-A student from 1st grade through high school. She wants to be a veterinarian when she grows up. She has all these pets. She has a bunny, a cat, a guinea pig, chickens, and a dog. She doesn't have a favorite. She loves them all. So, congratulations. It's also my privilege to introduce the high school students of the month. Our female student of the month is Samantha Tice. Sammy has a 4.6 GPA while being involved in many activities. Every month when I start looking at this and I look at all the stuff that our kids are involved in and how they're able to maintain such excellence, it blows me away. I'm not going to talk about my high school experience as much, but it blows me away. So she's involved in gymnastics, track, huddle, student council, and FCA. Outside of school, Sam is involved in Big Brothers Big Sisters. She helps out with the Salvation Army and volunteers in her church. She also works at Hillside Orchard and also for Buckeye Gymnastics as well. Sam has received numerous honors with multiple academic letters, top scholar athlete awards, and all Gazette in gymnastics. Gymnastics is sections this weekend. Sections this weekend. If you haven't heard, our gymnastics team is pretty good, and so we're hoping for a really good postseason as well. Sam, after high school, this makes me really happy. She wants to be a teacher. She's going to study early childhood education at Bolton. And our male student of the month for the high school is Alex Cooks. Alex is one of my more unusual students of the month in the fact that until Christmas he was a junior. And Alex is now a senior as he is an early graduate here at Buckeye. Alex has a 4.72 GPA. Again, also involved in all these things and still able to do such a great job in school. Alex will be honored as the salutatorian at this year's graduation ceremony. He is number 2 in the class. He is a 2-year section leader for our state qualifying marching band. Alex is the current vice president of FFA and is also a member of Academic Challenge. Outside of school, he volunteers for his church and has also been involved in 4-H for the past 9 years. After high school, Alex plans on attending The Ohio State University in the coming fall to major in agricultural engineering with with a minor in ag business. So very impressive young man. It's an honor to
If we could have Anita Barnhart come up, please. We just want to recognize Anita. She has done some amazing things with our garden club. If you haven't been around to see the garden club, she's also has extended that over to the primary side, and she works in the intermediate building. And she was just recognized with a very special honor this past week, and we want to make sure we're celebrating that as a district as well. So, Ms. Gunman, if you would mind reading.
The Buckeye Board of Education wishes to recognize Anita Barnhart, the Dining County Soil and Water Conservation District Environmental Educator of the Year for the state of Ohio.
Next up on our list of guests is our Buckeye 24 tournament participants. And Mrs. Lauber, you were going to, yes, sir. Would you explain the game?
We're not up yet. Can we take the break and then explain the game?
Sure.
How long will it take to come up?
5 minutes.
I don't really want to speak for 5 minutes.
No. I mean, take a break. We're going to take pictures. They'll get it up and we'll be good to go.
Call the meeting back to order, please.
I would like to introduce Brianna Cash and EJ Bohannon. They are both fourth graders. We took 16 fourth graders to the 24 tournament. It's a countywide tournament that they hold quarterly. And these two made it to the semifinals. And Mr. Morgan and I thought it might be a little fun if they competed with some of the board members that might be interested in playing. So, anybody else?
John is our representative.
Great, because they are math kids. The idea is play. Okay, the idea of the game is the kids, the competitors receive 4 numbers on a card, and they have to make 24 out of it.
We can do a sample on the board.
So this is a sample, so everybody want to take a look at it, and you know how that one's solved? Brianna? All right, we'll let you explain that one.
5 times 3 is 15. 5 plus 4 is 9. 15 plus 9 is 24.
So we'll flip the card. If you think you know what it is, just raise your hand and say, I got it.
Ready for the next one?
Do you want to go this thing?
6 divided by 2 equals 3. 3 plus 1 equals 4. 21 times 1 is 34.
Ready, John?
Mr. Cole, you paid attention, right?
Pretty quick. I was watching this. Yeah, that
We're ready for the treasurer's report then.
Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education accept the treasurer's report as presented, including all internal budgets, amended certificates, and appropriations to the county auditor, as on file in the treasurer's office, as shown in Appendix A. Student activity handbook. Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the student activity handbook as presented in Appendix I. Medical mutual addendum. Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the revised medical mutual rate sheet as it pertains to employee or employee costs. Appendix J.
Any further comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Margie?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes. Before we move into public participation, there is a time in the meeting where we usually say to students, if they would like to leave, that this is an okay time to leave, because we know they have homework and things like that. But I know the Boy Scouts are going to hang a little bit, because they want to see some action. So it's up to you.
I'll either send you a wrapper shop.
Number 10 is public participation. The public is invited to speak to any of the agenda items and other school topics at this time. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Direct questions will not be answered by the Board of Education members at this time. However, answers will be given at a later date as appropriate. Is there anyone who would like to speak tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on then to the superintendent's informational items.
We have a couple presentations this evening. First up is Ms. Knapp doing school culture and team building at the intermediate building.
Good evening. I had backup just in case the Wi-Fi went down, so we're back there, so that's good. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics tonight because it involves everyone in the school. It's school culture and team building, so not only is it staff, but it's also students, and it's just everybody working together. All right, there's research on everything, and there's research on school culture and school climate, and the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development states that school culture, there is a difference between climate and culture, refers to the way teachers and other staff members are working together, their beliefs, values, assumptions they share, and that positive school climate and school culture that promotes students' ability to learn. So when that's there, then the ability for students to learn is there. It's very important. School climate refers to the school's effects on students, including their teaching practices, diversity, and relationships among administrators, teachers, parents, and students. So this really involves everybody together. So I wanted to highlight some of the things we've been doing as a staff at the intermediate side this year. We have been doing student shout-outs and staff shout-outs every Friday, if we don't have a snow day. We are celebrating our students and staff. So every week, students and staff can turn in shout-outs into the office, and I will go around to the different classrooms, kind of stop what's going on, and I will shout out that staff member or that student, and then their picture's taken. We're putting those all on our bulletin board, which is right out here. When you walk in the building, you can see that. So we're looking to extend that bulletin board across that very long wall outside there. So it's been a nice thing to have that as a positive part of our building. This is some of the staff and student shout-outs we've done so far. I wanted to make sure to highlight that I'm still going to the teachers. They get their picture taken, which they're always not a huge fan of, but they'll still do it. And then also there have been class shout-outs. So some of our classrooms have gotten shout-outs. And even the primary side has shouted out classrooms up at the intermediate. So it's kind of spread building-wide here. Another highlight thing that I wanted to share was leadership breakfasts that we have started this school year, and they are quarterly student recognition breakfasts. So I've asked teachers to really think about the students in their classrooms, their homerooms, that are showing leadership qualities such as compassion, perseverance, responsibility, and positivity. And then they'll nominate these students. The students are then recognized at a breakfast every quarter, so we'll have 4 of those. We have a guest speaker. The first quarter, we had a speaker from high school, one of our seniors. The second quarter, Mr. Tudor, our high school principal, spoke to students all about leadership and what that means. So those have been really nice to recognize our kids and what they're doing as far as leadership in our building and in our community. And that is a picture of our second quarter leadership students from January. Another highlight that we worked on this year, myself being new, it's important to get to know everyone. So we've done a lot of staff team building. This is a picture of our 4th grade staff members. So we've done some challenges. I found this online tool, it's called Smart Team Building, and it has been a hit. Even Mrs. Nill is getting into it. It is a true hit. So this fall, 7 teams were put together. I should have had you speak about this. 7 teams were put together. Every staff member in the building was included. And they had to come up with a team name, a chant. There were posters around the building. They even got into costume on our last day. There were 3 winners, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And I still hear about not winning the grand prize. So it is even spilled into the students too. They were going around, the 4th grade team, they had a chant, and I was out at bus duty, and they were just going by doing their teacher's chant. It was very, very cool. So it's been a great thing for our staff to kind of come together, and I know they're really looking forward to the spring one coming up. Here's some pictures. Our preschool team are Heroes of Young, they call themselves. So they have all their gear on down there, and then our Special Forces team, so our specials teachers made t-shirts even for this day. Each team also had to do some acts of kindness for one another, which actually works so well because this week at school is our week of kindness in our building, but it's kind of spilled into the entire school year. So different teams gave things to their colleagues, such as, if you see on the yellow sheet there, our preschool team treated our 6th grade teachers team with cookies one day in the lounge. Our 5th grade team had snacks for one of the other team members in their hallway one day so they could come down and have a nice treat. And then our 5th grade team made, they used the 3D printer on the smiley faces, and they handed out a smiley face to everyone. We even got into some festive holiday wear competitions that we had some prize winners for those, and I think our own Mrs. Middle's in there, and Mrs. Smith was here tonight. They got really into it. There was a rubric and everything. I mean, we are following expectations. There was points given. They really got into that. And once again, I just want to stress how important it is for all of us to come together, building those relationships together. It really means a lot. And you log into our side of the building here, and you're going to be greeted with a smile and kindness, and that goes a long way. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to the spring competitions. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To see the championship round, I guess. That was a little bit scary. They were really competitive, and they were yelling, and it was good. It was really neat. Thank you. Dawn Hartwell, Primary Palooza.
You can change the name, it's actually Palooza, but I'm not going to talk a whole lot. I know our building leadership team came a couple years ago and presented a lot of different initiatives that we were doing, and one of them is Poetry Palooza. This is our 3rd year, and just a reminder, so why do we do it? Because we're teaching reading fluency through poetry and song. So research, we had Dr. Tim Rosinski from Kent State, who's well known throughout the country, come in and do a workshop with us. And it's just, the research for kids who are struggling readers is huge. That if you do songs or poetry, it increases their fluency and their prosody, which is reading with expression. So we started it, and it's really taken off. So the research also says, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, if you just look at the line graph, the group of students did a repeated reading the first time, and the research shows that even the more that you do repeated readings, that each time they get a new selection, they're able to read it more fluently. So you can see the increase in each line represents a brand new selection. So just going through this process is increasing reading fluency. So I thought the best thing, so I didn't bring the whole class in, was to show you what happens is each class practices the poem all week long, but also our classes during our flexible grouping periods, those of you who know what those are, we have groups, and our at-risk students, some of them get a poem every day, and they practice throughout intervention block and enrichment block. So we ramp it up for some of our struggling readers. So on Fridays, we pick a class, kind of randomly pick them to make sure everybody has a chance, and they come to the office, and this is what they do.
Congratulations to Mrs. Hager's third grade class who will be presenting our poem this week.
Groundhog Day. What is that commotion? That noise above the ground? I want to keep sleeping, but what is that sound? What will I find when I peek from my hole? A wintry racket, a wind-blowing cold. Or is it much scarier, that fierce moving thing, watching and waiting for what my burrow will bring? I'll go, I'll check, I'm brave and I'm strong. I'm sure it's just winter, a wind-blowing song. 6 more weeks of winter.
Oh, man, that's over. Mrs. Hager's class right away Friday, doing an amazing job on the phone. Everybody have an awesome day.
So one thing that's come out, I don't know, of course when I chose to film, I got a class that wasn't quite as excited, but usually they're all cheering and like, yay, high-fiving. But one of the best things that has happened is because of the teachers and the culture. And as soon as the class leaves, I go up to the back of the office and I have to sneak through, because if you want to be boosted up on a Friday, watch what happens when the kids go back to their classroom. Should be another.
Click it to the next one.
Oh.
Is there a way to click? Am I clicking on?
Yay, it's really exciting. There it is. Okay. But to see the looks on the children's faces, you would have thought they were rock stars. So I just wanted you to see. And again, come some Friday morning and stand in the hallway. It'll make your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Dave Parrish, who is at the high school, and he is the career-based intervention teacher.
I'm glad you guys didn't take so long, so I have about 30 minutes now. I appreciate it. I was warned not to take so long. Career-based intervention. I appreciate that we thanked everyone and we celebrated everybody so far. And there's a group of students that aren't celebrated so much, and those are the students I teach. And the school board needs to be thanked, and the Career Center needs to be thanked for funding my program. We had about an 8-year time where the program wasn't funded. So thank you very much. I got to say that very much. And Mr. Madsen should be here too, because he helped bring that money to the Career Center. So make sure we thank you very much. My students are the ones that don't get much recognition. They sit in class. In fact, they often sit in the back of the class and don't do anything. They don't get any grades. They don't produce anything. They don't do anything. The teachers wonder why. And they're no different than the rest of the students. And it's my job and the rest of us to figure that out and figure out why they aren't doing stuff. And we are working on that. And we try to shepherd them and try to find supports and get them on track and hopefully get them to graduate. And if not, we provide enough skills that they can either get a GED or become productive citizens. Get enough skills that they become good students and good productive citizens. That's the goal. And usually a few years after school, they figure it out and they become good productive citizens. We don't want them to go through the cracks and be forgotten. They have a lot of environmental issues that people forget about. They're not your average students, and they need a lot of help. And it's really something what they go through. And they can earn 4 credits in my class. 2 credits from the theory class, that's academics, and 2 credits from work. And it's amazing what some of them can do and how much they turn around, how much their self-esteem builds up, and so forth. And we were missing it for a number of years, and it's really great to have that. We try to do cultural activities because they don't get that. We went to a General Guinness Band at Highland. Hopefully we'll get to see the Steel Drum Band at Copley High School, and maybe the Great Gatsby is going to be at Highland. That are coming. Almost all of them are working, and they go to school during the day and then work. They don't get out early because they don't have enough credits. A few of them get out of school early. And part of my job is to invite or go out and make connections in the community. I go out in the afternoons and for the work study part and talk to the employers. But I do a lot of outreach to employers to build relationships with the school district itself. And I make a lot of friends for the school district, I would say, a lot of good acquaintances for the school district, and a lot of good relationships. And we're building those, and it's really working out well for the school district, I think. And we're building a lot of good relationships, and the students are being employed, and it's not just that, but the relationship with the school, where schools are both. They forget about the rest of the world somewhat, and we're bringing the two together, and that's a real positive. And we're bringing people into the school. We've had Huntington Bank, we've had the Highland National Guard, we've had other speakers come in. Mr. Hill, anybody know Mr. Hill, Mr. Dick Hill? Yeah, he's come in and spoken about his life progression of jobs. We're bringing people in, we're trying to get mentors. I brought in the pastors from the local churches and invited them at lunches to come and talk to the students. We're trying to get mentors. We're trying to do all kinds of different things to bring role models for the students, not just my students, but the Buckeye students in general. Judge Werner, the new municipal judge, is going to come in and talk about how to deal with municipal court, because we all probably get a speeding ticket one time or another in our lives, and how to deal with that and so forth. But all these different things. And then lastly, I have to have a advisory committee, and I brought in all kinds of businesses, and to tell us what they need. And they always say attitude and aptitude. And what is that? And they narrowed it down to us, what attitude and aptitudes they're looking for. And it's things that I teach. I teach a lot of communication type things like interviewing and openness and body language and so forth. And it's things we're missing now with the phones. And we're starting to instigate that. We're making plans to instigate that starting in 7th grade. about how just to sit in class open, not cross like this, things that we're going to instigate all through the curriculum. So we're going to bring that into board. And also, we're going to think about bringing in Excel, because we don't have Excel at the high school anymore. And so we're going to try to incorporate that more in classes. Those are two things they asked for. Also, I brought in Terrence Robinson from Magnet, and he brought in the idea of European apprenticeships. And that idea is to not have debt when you finally get done with your education. Wouldn't that be amazing? Be trained either as a banker or a hairdresser or a mechanic or whatever, and not have debt. And the Europeans have this, especially in Germany. And they do this in Cuyahoga County through Magnet. And unfortunately, we're not a big enough manufacturer. We don't have Lincoln Electric and OD and Eaton Corporation in our county. But I brought them in and talked about it and tried to get our manufacturers to think about it. And also to open up the jobs to 16 and 17-year-olds, because most of our young people want to be in food service, because that's all they want. Now, I don't want to put down food service, but that's where they think their careers are going to be. And so we're working on opening up those type of jobs, other jobs other than just food service. So that's some of the things we've been working on. Now, I could talk for hours, but I have a handout. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parrish. The next item on our agenda is the Business Advisory Council. And one of the purposes of the Business Advisory Council is that's now a requirement that the state has put upon school districts to have a Business Advisory Council. In Medina County, we have joined with the ESC and a number of other districts to have a shared committee or a council that will then represent the community to all the districts. And we try and do it as a team or collaborative approach. And so the benefits, or the purposes, are to identify skills needed and suggest ways to teach them, advise on types of jobs available, and create a relationship between business, labor, and education. That should sound a lot like what Mr. Parrish is doing. And so he's really been instrumental in helping to get some of those relationships established. But we also, Mr. Tudor and myself, have also been meeting with other businesses in our community, Buckeye specifically, but in Medina County, and trying to identify ways that we can reach out to them and provide opportunities for our students, opportunities for them as a business to hire good quality employees. And so it's a beginning steps to doing that. One of the major hurdles, as Mr. Parrish mentioned, is that we don't really know what's out there. As adults in the school, we've kind of been programmed for the last couple decades that it's college or nothing, and that's the direction that we should be going and being focused on. And we've kind of ignored the manufacturing, the businesses that are right here, that you can have a great living and live in the Buckeye community and not have to feel like there's only one way for you to be successful. And so between the two programs and the focus, that's really how we see that this Business Advisory Council is helping us to create opportunities for our students, but also to create opportunities for our communities, our community businesses. So the current focus is to start to establish some relationships with our businesses. We've been talking with a number, we have probably about 3 or 4 different businesses that have expressed an interest to work with us, not just with our CBI students, but for opening up for internships availability for all kinds of our students that are interested in some of those areas. So we're in the planning stages. We're really excited about what that could do for our community as well as for our students. And hopefully next year we'll be talking about some of those success stories as we start to see the flex credit opportunities and some of the internships come to fruition. But we obviously are also, number 3, we have a couple of things that we already are currently doing to educate our students and staff on those opportunities. We did I'm sorry, Mr. Tudor, what was that called last year when we took them on the bus to the...
Well, it was a senior field trip. It used to be called the Economic Roadshow.
And so there's 4 businesses that the students had a choice to select, and then we transported them out there. They saw the businesses and a number of teachers went and were very impressed with what they saw as well. And so it's a beginning part of that, and we're hoping to not wait until they're seniors. We're hoping to encourage some things starting even in like 3rd grade, 6th grade, 7th, 8th grade, and then into the high school, so that we start to expose our students at a much earlier age at what is available right here in Buckeye, as well as the other academic ventures with college. We are trying to embed our business focus within our curriculums as well. And that is all I have on the council. One of the requirements, we have to report out to the board on a quarterly basis. And so you'll hear things coming up. Some of this stuff may not be as in-depth because we're still in the process of putting these things together. But we are really excited about what this could be bringing for our students and for our community. Any questions from the board? Some other items we have, our work session is the Monday, February 26th at 6 o'clock. That's at the Board of Education. We have no school on President's Day, which is next Monday, February 19th. We have a late arrival tomorrow, Wednesday, February 14th. And also we have our makeup parent-teacher conferences for the junior high tomorrow evening. What a way to spend Valentine's Day. We have our Buckeye Hall of Fame nominations. We have 5 categories. You can go online on our website and access that. We have academic career, athletics, cultural performing arts, major donor, and special honorary. We have the deadline is April 1st, and again, you can go to the Buckeye Schools website and download and then send that into the school for nominations. Also, we had today our Education Day in Medina County. Our leadership in Medina County came to Buckeye High School, and we had a chance to show off a number of programs and classrooms and teachers. And I heard a number of positive feedback, and I want to thank the high school, Dr. Collins, also for her involvement on that. But the classroom, the teachers were amazing. Our kids were always amazing. And I heard a lot of great things back from a number of the class of 2018. And so I thank Buckeye High School for that opportunity this morning. That is all for my informational items.
Thank you. So we'll move on then to the superintendent's recommendations.
Item A, approval of Buckeye Financial Strategic Plan. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the financial portion of the Buckeye Local Schools 5-year strategic plan as submitted, Appendix B. Approval of Arnold Architectural Strategies Agreement. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the analysis and repair document submitted by Arnold Architectural Strategies for the walls of the high school industrial arts area, Appendix C. Item C is approval of ESC Service Amendment Agreement. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the amended service agreement with Medina County ESC in the amount of $3,480 based on an increase of 120 hours for LPN services. This agreement is in effect for the remaining portion of the 2018 fiscal year, Appendix D. Item D, wireless communication allowance. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following administrators, principals, directors, technology department, and supervisors are eligible for a wireless communication allowance of $40 per month per board policy 7530.01. Item E, approval of Oaks Family Care Center, MOU. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve a memorandum of understanding with Oaks Family Care effective for the 2017-18 school year. The center will provide therapeutic services for individual and at times group sessions to be determined by the school counselor with students in grades 6 through 8 as part of the FACT program, Appendix E. Item F, all-day kindergarten for the 2018-19 school year. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve all-day kindergarten for the Buckeye Elementary curriculum for the 2018-19 school year. This scheduling change will be offered to Buckeye local schools families at no additional cost. Item G, out-of-state field trip. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve an out-of-state field trip for the Buckeye Junior High School 8th graders. Their educational field trip to Washington, D.C. is scheduled for November 14th to the 16th, 2018. The cost per student is estimated at $410. There is no cost to the district.
A motion for those recommendations.
So moved.
Second. Comments or questions?
All-day kindergarten. This is something that has been talked about for a while, and I appreciate the planning that you've gone through. I know the administrators in the district have been working on this, and there is cost to the district, but I don't think it's going to be an extravagant cost because of the way that they planned out doing this. I'm not too certain it'll only happen with the number of teachers that we're talking about, but I'm very happy that this is going through.
I would also say for all-day kindergarten, for our Boy Scouts who are here tonight, a topic like this is a topic that we've talked about in our work sessions along the way. And what happens is the superintendent and the principals and other administrators in the district work on a plan and propose it to us. And then, of course, we always have questions about what they proposed, and we get our questions answered. So this has been, like Mr. Barker said, a long time in coming. We started talking about this early in the school year, and now we're ready to put a vote on this because we've had plenty of discussion along the way. The other thing I wanted to mention in here was the approval of the Arnold Architectural Strategies Agreement. We have problems with one of the walls at the high school. This would be in the industrial arts area, and I don't know, Mr. Morgan, can you just give us a little bit, like a highlight of what's going on there?
We have problems. No, we have, we're not exactly sure what is still happening, but basically the wall is kind of separating and twisting, and so there's about a 1 inch to 2 inch gap in some parts of that area, and obviously they want to find out what is happening, and then stop what's happening, and then repair whatever they need to make sure it's secure and safe for no more movement. So that's what's being recommended tonight.
Roll call, please.
Barco.
Yes.
Varchi.
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes.
Dunklin.
Yes. New business?
First up is the strategic plan for the school Spirit and Pride Committee. First of all, this committee was one that I chaired, and we began meeting last school year. We had board members John Stahl, Kim Selleck, and our new board member Denise Pavarchi was on that committee. We had 2 students. We had our number of other administrators and teachers and guidance counselors at the high school. It was a well-balanced group, and I was blown away with the ideas that they came up with. Our students were a huge asset to that committee, as well as our coaches that were involved in some of the discussion points. We basically come up with 3 goals, and the goals basically were started last school year, so some of the steps that are on the strategic plan have actually already been started or have already been met, but they are still part of what we had put together in our goals. Basically, with a strategic plan, you have your goals set up, and then you have your steps that you kind of talk about and plan for. That's kind of a fluid document. So depending on what's happening within those goals, the plan itself can actually be massaged a little bit to better meet the needs of the district. But the goals are the primary focuses over the next 5 years. So goal 1, develop activities to encourage unity and enhance the pride of staff, students, and the Buckeye community. Goal 2 is to create a communication system so the Buckeye community is notified about the achievements of students and staff. And goal 3 is to create the Buckeye brand, identify which Buck design and colors will be used as we brand our facilities, uniforms, and spirit wear. Our goal 1 was pride and unity. We kind of divided that into 2 sections. We realized that the 2 focuses, first of all, there's a lot of pride in Buckeye, and we also want to focus on the unity part of the pride that we have in Buckeye. So with pride, we talked about having pride t-shirts, and we're in the beginning stages of talking about some of these items, but the idea is that we're trying to promote more Buckeye pride with a purpose and have ways that we can recognize students that are being prideful, recognize even adults that are being that are showing Buckeye pride, and this is something that's going to be evolving over the next 5 years. Senior parking spots decorated. You probably are aware that happened, and that was a huge hit. That happened right away this summer, and very creative, didn't have any issues with that, and I think after all the salt we've had down, it's still, most of them are still there, and it helps decorate our parking lot. It's a nice touch. Paint the Buckeye fire hydrants and paint buck tracks on parking lots and roads. So again, we're trying to look at ways that we can really promote that this is Buckeye country, that we are going to have a lot of pride throughout our community. I'm aware that one resident has painted his fire hydrant and it's remained orange still, Mr. Stahl. And so that's a testament to the quality of paint that he chose, I guess. But we want to make sure that we're giving our opportunities for people to know that they're in Buckeye country. Promote Buckeye graduation and Buckeye businesses. The idea there is to set up either a class picture or some recognition that we can pass out to businesses in the Buckeye community, even into the Medina area, that's going to be bragging about our success and letting people know that they support the Buckeye graduates. Recognize the Buckeye retired teachers and staff. We're coming with ideas that we can recognize them at games, ways that we can provide shirts that kind of show that we appreciate what a staff member has done for that student athlete, things that they can do for retired teachers. We've even talked about ways that we can recognize former students, former teams, those types of things. We're trying to build the connection between, once you've left Buckeye as a graduate or you retired, we still want to keep you in the Buckeye family. And so some of the things that we've been talking about are ways that we can really bring back some of those community members that are not in the community anymore, but still try and keep in touch with them. And then we also have a large rock for painting, some encouraging, go Bucks, whatever. And we believe, didn't we have a donation at the last meeting? We heard it was a donation, but it hasn't been delivered yet, I believe, of a rock. So that is, if it's not been, if I'm wrong, then it's coming. That's something we need to find a place for. But that's some things we talk about as far as showing Buckeye pride. Our unity, we really want to focus on unifying the Buckeye campus and talking about having a pep rally that would involve the entire campus, primary, intermediate, junior high, and high school. We talked about having a movie night on the football field. I believe they've done that in the past, and that was something the students had mentioned about having some way that we could have the entire community be a part of that. We've talked about juniors and seniors handing out a pledge card to students and staff, and that's the beginning stage, but it was basically a way that we could have our older students be able to mentor our younger students and have some interaction outside of the high school and be able to come down and do some things with our intermediate and our primary students. Also talked about having an all-campus picnic. We already do senior clap-outs for graduation and special sports competitions when it works into the schedule. And community alumni volunteers to read to elementary students and honor at extracurricular events. So again, just trying to show that we have a lot of great things that are happening at Buckeye, and that we want to involve as many people as possible to promote the Buckeye community. Goal 2 is our communication system. We had in the past had a Buckeye Pride newsletter. We talked about the possibility of getting that back up. The Buckeye Hall of Fame Alumni Association, that's, I forget the official term, but it's like 50 years and beyond. And there's a gap between that 50-year alumni and the class of 2017, and we're trying to come up with ways that we can have that be a location or an association that we can try and get a little bit more involvement from our alumni. Our Buck TV, we have Emily Goodwin does a lot with the Buck TV right now, and recognizing and honoring activities that our students are doing, as well as promoting the district through our social media. We have our social media promotions with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and those are new things that we've improved on or added to the district starting last year. You probably have noticed that our new web page is also, we started that at the end of last year. And so we're looking at always ways that we can improve how we're communicating with our community and giving them access to as many items as we can. And then goal 3 is creating the Buckeye brand, and we've done a number of these with the Buckeye Buck and the B logo. We talked about having a survey of the community in order to be able to identify ways that we can better meet the needs and understand some of the needs of our community. And then identify the official Buckeye paint colors, which we've done that. And then promote the new logo, obviously putting it on uniforms, putting it on gym floors, and then the new logo on that. And just as we get to those points where we can make that Buckeye brand more consistent throughout the district. I believe that's it. Yes. Any questions on the school spirit pride?
Kicking it with Kent, that fits right in.
I'm not sure, maybe. Item B, first reading of the following policies. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education consider the policy listed below as presented. Copies of the complete policy is attached to board members' agendas as of Appendix F. 5336, care of students with diabetes, and 6600, deposit of public funds, cash collection points. Item C, final reading of the following policy. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education consider the policies listed below as presented. Copies of the complete policies are attached to board members' agendas at Appendix G. 2271, College Credit Plus Program. 4120.05, Employment of Substitute Educational Aides. Item 5136, Personal Communication Devices, was tabled. 5200, Attendance. 5330, Use of Medications. 5530, Drug Prevention. 7300, Disposition of Real Property or Personal Property. 8600.04, Bus Driver Certification. And 9141, Business Advisory Council.
A motion for the final reading of the policies, please.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on those? Mr. Barco, would you like to tell the boys why you asked for one policy to be tabled?
Why I asked for the one that's personal communication devices, cell phone, laptops, any kind of tablets, whatever. Little concerned with the way that the policy was written, that it might be too restrictive. And when it says that you can't have your phone in school, on school buses, things like that, and asking the administrators to take another look at that and see if there's enough leeway in there to meet the current day. That's about the best way I can. So that's what we asked for.
Thank you for that explanation. Roll call, please.
Stahl.
Yes.
Barco.
Yes.
Havarti. Gone.
Yes.
Personnel.
Item A, certified substitutes. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the attached list of certified substitute tutors recommended by the Medina County Schools ESC to work on an as-needed basis for the 2017-18 school year, Appendix H. Item B, certified personnel. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following personnel items as presented. Number 1, maternity leave of absence. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve a maternity leave of absence for Sarah Harrison, 5th grade teacher, effective approximately April 30th, 2018. Ms. Harrison plans to return to her position approximately 6 weeks later. Item C, classified personnel. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following personnel items as presented. Number 1, employment. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve to hire Gregory Campbell, 4-hour per day high school custodian, effective February 14th, 2018. Mr. Campbell will be paid at step 1 and will be paid $15.68 an hour. He will receive a 1-year probationary contract. Item 2, employment. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve to hire William Zool, mechanic, effective February 14th, 2018. Mr. Zool will be paid at step 1 and will be paid $17.23 an hour. He will receive a 1-year probationary contract. Item 3, employment. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve to hire Max Wood, mechanic, effective February 14th, 2018. Mr. Wood will be paid at step 1 and will be paid $17.23 an hour. He will receive a 1-year probationary contract. Item D, classified substitutes. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the attached list of classified substitutes to work on an as-needed basis for the 2017-18 school year. Custodial, Zelda Bergasser. And item E, supplemental contract approval. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following supplemental contracts pending certifications as well as resignations effective for the 2017 school year as listed. And we have resignation as well, two resignations.
A motion, please.
Motion.
Second? I'll second it. Roll call.
Stahl?
Yes.
Barchi?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes.
Gummer?
Yes. Donations.
Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education accept and recognize the following donations to Buckeye local schools as presented. Item A is donation of $1,500 from the Cleveland Browns Foundation for the high school game of the week.
A motion to accept the donation? So moved. Second? Any comments? Roll call.
Barchi?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes.
Gummer?
Yes. Board comments? I forget what agenda we started at last time. We'll start with Mrs. Pavarchi.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the Boy Scouts being here. I know it wasn't real lively and exciting, but I'm glad you were here and you learned a lot about how the process works. Mrs. Gumpelman and Mr. Barco gave you some background information, so I hope that helps you earn your badge. Thank you.
Mr. Stahl?
Welcome to the new employees. Welcome new employees. Ms. Snap, that was a great presentation. Really excited about the shout outs and stuff. I know one of my kids got a shout out and it was put on a magnet on the refrigerator and he brought it down. Actually this morning we talked about his shout out that he got last week and how exciting it was. And the poetry, we read poetry every night. And we've been doing that for several years, so that's great. Kent, I'm going to be kicking it with Kenny tomorrow, and do you want me to give him a cease and desist letter since you do kicking it with Kent? They get silly. Boy Scouts, when I talked to you guys 2 weeks ago, you guys talked about the paint colors, and Mr. Morgan went over those too. So, if you want to send him a letter, some of you were complaining about the paint colors in the junior high, we can get those taken care of. So, appreciate that. And recognizing employees in businesses, I think we talked about that. That's a great idea. I've got, I think I had 4 last year. I got 6 Buckeye seniors that work for me, and I'd love to put their pictures up to congratulate them in June. I think it would be a nice thing to do. So, and thank you everyone for coming. Appreciate it.
Mr. Barco?
Well, we did recognize Anita Barnhart earlier, and those, that program with the garden club that is being done, I get to go and talk to the kids during their, what do you call it, the final showcase or whatever? Garden party, there you go. Just amazed at those students and how they have just taken that program on as such a great thing. And you do such a great work.
I'd like to thank all of the folks who did their presentations tonight. We really do appreciate it. I know it takes extra time to get something together to share with us, but it's the only way we really know what's going on. So we certainly appreciate those. Thank you to the Boy Scouts for being here tonight, and I hope, like Mrs. Pavarchi said, I hope we helped you a little bit so that you can earn your badge. I also wanted to say Happy Valentine's Day to everyone, since that's tomorrow. And hopefully junior high conferences won't take up your whole evening. We do have a need for executive session. So we will enter into executive session for the purposes of investigation of charges, complaints, and discipline. And so at this time, it's really a recess. Executive session is only for board members. So we thank you for coming this evening and have a good day.
There'll be no action taken after?
No action taken.
Yes, we do.